1 every Sunday except for the first Sunday of the month when we host our lecture series at the Austin History Center. And next month's lecture will be October 3rd, and it's something about Darwin. You can join us for grub right after this here program.
Arr!
Threadgill's Restaurant, 301 West Riverside Drive in South Austin, starting at 6:30 p.m. You can get 3 sheets to the wind on grog with at the Dog and Duck Pub located at the corner of 17th and Guadalupe every Thursday. And you can get in touch with us at TV at atheist-community.org or check out our blog at atheistexperience.blogspot.com.
Yes.
Indeed. And most importantly, there still be more seats for oarsmen.
It's not the same
Austin
when you don't
Bat
do the
Cruise.
voice. It's just not the same when you don't do it. Yeah.
Oh, I failed.
No.
All right. More. So there's more room on the Austin Bat Cruise, which is going to be awesome, and it's going to be next Saturday. So if you haven't booked your seat, then check out the ACA calendar or products page and join us.
Indeed.
And there we go. Okay.
Here we are.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
I brought my doubloons and everything.
Yeah.
How's the calls looking?
Well, we got a couple up there. We can do that, or we can play a little more WoW. It's up to you.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's go right.
Just going to calls
right
because
ahead
it's that
to
kind of day.
Aaron at San Antonio, Texas.
Aaron.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
You're on.
Are you there?
Aaron?
Aaron.
Lost him already?
All right.
Hello?
Oh,
Hello.
You're back. Aaron?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us at all,
Is there a
Aaron?
problem with the phones? We're going to put Aaron back on hold.
I appear to be
And
on.
then we're going to try him again later, and we're going to see if this problem is with other lines. Sorry,
Okay.
Aaron.
Sorry, Aaron. Sorry. That was strange.
All right, we're going to try Randy in Houston. Hello?
Hello?
Hey,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Something is.
Oh, boy.
It's not working today.
It's definitely going to be one of those days. Okay, stay on the line.
Well, great.
Now we're feeding back.
It's going to be one of those days. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we just try to wing it with some of these because we have questions already.
Do you want to? I mean, we've got like news
Well,
that we could talk about. Stop that.
guys.
Hello.
This.
What's going on?
Are you being attacked in there? There's like orcs rampaging and like killing you all, and you. Okay, right. Well, we can do a little news.
All right,
and then,
so,
yeah,
Pope-
come back
Pope
to some of that
Benedict.
because there's stuff going on in the world.
See, this is why I come up with news that I don't think we'll wind up using.
Oh, okay. Because you never know.
In case of emergency, you never know.
Such as?
Such as Pope Benedict going to England this week and basically declaring war on atheist extremism, by which I guess he means us. So we've got, a pretty powerful enemy in our hands.
No, once you're buggering kids, don't you kind of lose the right to accuse anybody of anything extreme?
Well, now be fair. I don't know that Benedict himself has ever buggered.
Oh,
any
no,
kids.
no. He's just, been covering it up. Yes,
Yeah.
and enabling and all of that kind of stuff.
Benedict XVI used the first papal state visit to Britain to launch a blistering attack on atheist extremism and aggressive secularism and to rue the damage that the exclusion of God, religion, and virtue from public life has done in the last century. Such as?
Like...
The leader of the Roman Catholic Church concluded a speech made before the Queen and assembled dignitaries at the Palace of Holyrood House in Edinburgh with the argument that the Nazi desire to eradicate God had led to the Holocaust and a plea for 21st century Britain to respect its Christian foundations. Oh, shoot. And here's me without my big list of Hitler quotes.
Well, you mean the one where he talks about eliminating all teachings of Darwin's theory, eradicating all groups
He
that
shut
are...
down a bunch of atheist groups.
Well, yeah,
He
just
declared
anything that was set up to ridicule or be critical of the Christian faith got banned in 1933. So
Right. He was in real tight with the Pope at the time.
So
He said that by
this is all
defeating the Jew. Anyway.
I can't get too like angered by this kind of nonsense because it's... Well,
Standard apologist crap.
Well, it's not only that, but this is very specifically and very obviously an incredibly lame bit of pay no attention to the pedo behind those robes, a bit of dodging of responsibility for what everyone is calling them out on, which is the whole sexual abuse scandal that goes back decades, and all the way back to the beginning of the 20th century and maybe even further.
I don't know. I mean, whether or not there are child abuse scandals, they always blame us for everything.
No, but this is
this
very
Hitler
specific,
thing is
and
a
it's
case
very.
in point.
But this is very specific, and it's very timed. It's very obvious that when the Pope, who is facing this horrible scandal, comes out and says something like this, it's very obviously meant to distract people, to be like, oh yeah, okay, well gosh, we did all this bad stuff and we're sorry about it, but gee, isn't it nice that we're not like those atheists?
Is he facing that scandal right now more than ever? I mean, has anything changed since he became Pope?
Well, for the very first time, he has come out and very specifically, pointedly addressed it. Now, he hasn't addressed it in any way beyond to say, gosh, we're really kind of sorry that this happened and we're embarrassed, and boy, this sure is all embarrassing. And that's just been a very weak and I think very dishonest series of apologies. Or it may even be honest. I mean, he may genuinely be, starting to feel the shame of this whole series of events. But the point is, as several victims organizations have said, we don't want the Pope to just come out and say he's sorry. We want the Pope, that's great that he's sorry, but we want a Pope who's going to do something. What the Pope needs to be saying is, yes, the Holy See and the Vatican, we are going to communicate with international law enforcement. We're going to root out every single priest who has ever done this. If they're still alive, we're going to defrock them, and then we are going to participate. We're going to assist law enforcement in bringing these people to trial. That's what the Pope needs to be saying. He doesn't need to be saying, gosh, well, the church has really been humbled and humiliated in this whole affair, and we're hoping that that's good enough.
Right.
Because it's not.
And by the way, whenever the topic comes up,
he's looking for an easy target, an easy victim, that assumes other people hate. To sort of say, well,
easy targets. But I got to point out,
except
every
he's
time
in England.
This topic comes up about, well, yes, home of Richard Dawkins and birthplace of Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah, and where religion is is very minor part of the.
Right, and I got to point out, anytime this topic comes up of atheist extremism, that what they mean by that is exactly what Richard Dawkins is doing, which is going around saying, "Oh, that doesn't make any sense."
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, as religious extremists go, they have to stretch pretty hard. If people paid more attention to us, I would have us in that category where we're here arguing with people about their religion. That's what they mean by extremism. Right.
Yeah, just the fact that there are now more and more vocal groups coming out saying we don't believe this stuff, we think it's rubbish. Well, and by the way, we think churches are bad and often do bad things.
Yes.
That alone is enough of an affront to, you're looking at a group of people who have enjoyed a great deal of privilege.
What was that?
This is just, today is, what is up, guys? We're looking at a bunch of people who have been enjoying this privilege for centuries and centuries, suddenly finding that the privilege is no longer there.
Right.
It's no longer automatically taken for granted by the public. Just because they're wearing robes and dog collars doesn't mean that they're automatically being accorded this respect that's higher than, other secular members of society. And they aren't very happy about that whole situation. So.
Okay, let us see if they have managed to fix the phones, and try again with Aaron in San Antonio. How's that working, Aaron?
Yeah, I can hear you guys now.
Oh, good. Well done, crew. Yes.
Great. What's on your mind?
I had an observation that I wanted to kind of present, and it was kind of like a parallel to the way that I kind of justified my atheism towards the beginning when I was a teenager. And one of those things was I would use kind of social examples of why I don't espouse to, let's say, Christianity in particular. And one of those things was the way I would justify it to my peers, because, roughly, 90 to 95% of Americans are espoused to some kind of religious belief, in particular Christianity. And one of the things that I would say was, well, you know what? I don't want to carry on the legacy of those who brought that religion to these shores, because not only did they bring God, they also brought slavery, genocide, oppression, et cetera, et cetera. And so why would if I reject all of those things, why would I then accept the God in which they committed a lot of those atrocities in name? And I kind of felt that it provided me cover. And I know that's not the best answer, but it got me to a point where I could feel to where I could now say, I'm up at a point in my life where I can say, reason and logic are the best answers as to why I deny the existence of God. But in the beginning, when I couldn't really verbalize that or didn't have an understanding of science and reason and logic, that was kind of the answer that I gave. And I wanted to ask you guys, how do you think, kind of using a double-edged sword, when you're approaching people, yes, you want the best answer for not believing, for not espousing to a religion is reason and logic. But also look at the social implications of what it is you believe, and why would you carry on the legacy of those people?
Here's something I think you have to watch out for, which is you're slipping dangerously close to fallacy territory and saying, there are these people in Group A who did bad things and believed something, and because they did bad things, all of Group A should be dismissed. I mean, it's a kind of ad hominem fallacy.
I think it's a tu quoque, I think.
Maybe tu quoque. What does that one mean?
I think it has to do with, because you're not living in such a way as to reflect the beliefs you claim to espouse.
Right.
Therefore, obviously, the beliefs you claim to espouse just must be false or something like that.
I mean,
I believe that's what it is. I'd have to double check, look it up.
It's the same kind of thing that a racist might use. And I'm not accusing you of racism, but I'm just trying to point out why this argument necessarily isn't the best way to go. A racist might say, look at these black criminals, and there are, anecdotally, black criminals. There are also white criminals, and he would say, okay, I've got a big list of black criminals, and therefore black people are all terrible people.
Yeah, and it's a guilt by association fallacy too.
And
I'm not
similarly,
saying that because you carry on that legacy that you are necessarily a bad person. What I'm saying is, you think it would give people pause and start to think about, well, hey, accept.
I think it's better to
oppression, and let me, because I would have discussions and they would be like, well, that's true, but that's not what that Bible actually says, and then you get them to read it, and that is what it says to do.
Right. Okay. Now that I think is actually a better starting place, because there is bad stuff in the Bible, and then once they want to, just sort of gloss over it, then we're in the territory of, oh, you don't really believe in the Bible. Where do you get your morals from? It's got nothing to do with the Bible.
Yeah,
that's fine. I just worry about overgeneralizing with a group to sort of paint them all with a bad brush.
No, because that's exactly what the Pope is doing right now.
And I was kind of like. More of the observation that I use is, or kind of think about this was, I think people in general, really apply reason and logic into every single aspect of their life, because I think that it's kind of indicated in the fact that 90 to 95% have beliefs in a God or gods, and that I think that you can't say that you apply reason and logic to every single aspect of your life when you deny reason and logic when it comes to that particular instance, and that those people that don't that suspend reason and logic when they're coming to in regards to their religious beliefs, you can't really use reason and logic with them in refuting it, because they suspend reason and logic when it comes to that particular belief. And that I'm thinking, well, maybe it might be effective to kind of first appeal to emotional responses or social responses in that regard, and not only attacking the message, but kind of saying, well, look, examine the messengers as well.
Well, I mean, I don't know that fighting a bad and irrational set of beliefs with a bunch of emotional arguments and just